In the summer of 1962, on the sun-drenched pitches of Chile, the West German national team rode a resilient journey in the World Cup finals. With a generation of talented players combining the experience of the 1954 world champions with the hunger of young talents, they displayed a solid defensive style and iron discipline. Although they were eliminated in the quarterfinals by Yugoslavia, that team became an unforgettable part of world football history. However, behind those glorious moments lay very individual destinies. More than 60 years have passed since then, and time has etched different marks on their lives. Let's look back at the tumultuous journey of the players who formed the soul of the West German generation of 1962. Hans Schäfer was more than just a player. He was a living icon, a historical link between the Bernabeu miracle of 1954 and the new generation. At 34, the captain's armband he wore was not only a responsibility, but also an acknowledgement of his exceptional class. Playing as a left winger but capable of cutting inside like an attacking midfielder, Schäfer was the heart and soul of the team's attacking moves. His dribbling speed was no longer as dazzling as in his youth, but it was compensated by finesse, sharp tactical vision, and the ability to deliver incredibly tricky, curling crosses. Fans of the time called him destinies because of his keen sense of goal scoring and his sharp decision-making abilities. Schäfer's career was a ballad of loyalty. He dedicated his prime years to FC Köln, where he became the uncrowned king of Cologne. After leading the national team to their first Bundesliga title in Chile, he returned and guided the club to their first Bundesliga championship in 1964. After leaving the sport, he chose a quiet life, away from the media spotlight. He opened a gas station, then pursued small businesses, dedicating time to his family and occasionally showing up to support his beloved team. He was a virtuous, humble man, always maintaining the dignified demeanor of a gentleman. The image of him sitting in the stands at the Rhine Energy Stadium, his gaze affectionately fixed on the younger generations, has become part of Cologne's culture. What is thought-provoking is the contrast between a tireless warrior on the pitch and a soul that cherished tranquility off the field. However, that glorious journey, spanning nearly a century, came to an abrupt end. On November 7, 2017, Hans Schäfer passed away at the age of 90. His death left a vast void, as he was the last remaining member of the starting lineup from the historic 1954 World Cup final. His legacy is not just about titles. It is a benchmark of loyalty and professional ethics for all German players who followed. Uwe Seeler defined the German spirit: resilient, tenacious, and never giving up. At the 1962 World Cup, at the age of 25, Seeler was the #1 hope in attack. He didn't possess the ideal height of a center forward, but he compensated with a strong physique, an incredible ability to hold off defenders and win aerial duels. His overhead kicks and powerful headers became a nightmare for every defense. In Chile, he scored 2 crucial goals, but more than the numbers, it was his lion-like fighting spirit that kept him present in the most crucial moments to lift his teammates' spirits. Uwe Seeler's life is a story of choice and integrity. Despite receiving lucrative offers from Inter Milan and Real Madrid, he decided to dedicate his life to Hamburg SV. For him, the love of his hometown fans and the club's colors were priceless. After retiring, he served as president of Hamburg and remained a powerful voice in German football affairs. He lived a simple life in the suburbs of Hamburg, still gardening and shopping like any other ordinary person. This approachability earned him the affectionate nickname Uns Uwe, our Uwe. He also devoted much of his time and effort to his eponymous charity foundation, helping those in need. It seems the image of a powerful hero on the football field strangely reflected his life. He was always a solid pillar of support for his family and community. However, On July 21, 2022, the heart of this legend stopped beating at the age of 85. The whole of Germany bowed in farewell to him, a man who had dedicated his life to proving that true glory doesn't lie in expensive trophies, but in the place you hold in the hearts of your fans. Karl-Heinz Schnellinger entered the 1962 tournament at the age of 23 with extraordinary physicality and an unusual composure at fullback. With his golden hair and machine-like solid play, he was nicknamed Volkswagen, referring to his durability, reliability, and invincibility. In Chile, he was an almost impenetrable barrier, a player with exceptional game-reading ability and consistently precise intervention decisions. This outstanding performance was the springboard that propelled him to become one of the first and most successful German players to play abroad. After the tournament, Schnellinger moved to Italy, where he played for Mantova, AS Roma, and especially AC Milan. At San Siro, he became a legend with one Serie A title and one Champions League title. He adapted perfectly to Italian culture, but still maintained the iron discipline of a German in his lifestyle. Off the field, Schnellinger was a refined gentleman, knowledgeable in the arts and possessing a sophisticated aesthetic sense. After retiring, he chose to settle in Milan, living a peaceful middle-class life with his family. He rarely appeared in the press, instead enjoying simple pleasures such as traveling and studying history. His career is proof that football can transcend cultural boundaries. However, on May 20, 2024, sad news arrived from Milan when the Volkswagen came to a permanent halt at the age of 85. He passed away after a long illness, leaving behind a vast legacy of professionalism. The image of him scoring the equalizer against Italy in the match of the century in 1970 will forever remain one of the greatest moments in World Cup history, a delightful irony of fate for this expatriate. At just 22 years old, Helmut Haller embodied a new spirit in West Germany's playing style at the 1962 World Cup: creativity and artistry. As an attacking midfielder, Haller possessed incredibly skillful footwork, with magical ball control in tight spaces. He was not only a tempo-setting player, but also a silent killer, frequently making surprise runs into the penalty area. In Chile, despite his young age, Haller displayed remarkable composure, showing no fear of the aggressive tackles from the South American defenders. Haller's life was a colorful adventure in Italy, where he rose to stardom at Bologna and Juventus. He was the first German player to win the Serie A Player of the Year award, a testament to his innate talent. However, behind the glamour lay a life full of ups and downs. After retiring, Haller faced considerable financial and health challenges. He had to work hard to regain balance in his life, finding solace in coaching youth in his hometown of Augsburg. Haller was a passionate man, always giving his all for his passion, but sometimes also vulnerable to life's hardships. He dedicated many of his final years to social activities, helping young players from disadvantaged backgrounds. The most regrettable thing is that this journey had to end in pain. On October 11, 2012, Helmut Haller passed away at the age of 73 due to complications from Parkinson's disease and dementia. In his final years, he forgot many things, but his love for football was perhaps the last thing remaining in the mind of this romantic artist. His legacy is a perfect blend of German steel and the elegance of Italian football. Horst Simoniak is an indispensable name when discussing West Germany's midfield in 1962. At 27, he was at the peak of his career. With his short haircut and piercing gaze, Simoniak was a true sweeper, a tireless and diligent worker. His accurate tackling and powerful long-range shots became his trademark. In that team, he was the anchor that allowed creative players like Haller and Schaefer to confidently push forward. His endurance and discipline served as a model for the modern defensive midfielder. His club career was also marked by adventures in Italy, Inter Milan, Varese, and later years in the United States. Simoniak was an introverted, taciturn man who always prioritized action over words. However, his life after football was far from smooth. He struggled to adapt to everyday life, held various jobs, and eventually chose a secluded life in Chile. The image of a fierce warrior on the pitch seemed to contrast sharply with the solitary, somewhat austere man he became in his later years. He didn't enjoy the wealth of his teammates, but the self-respect of a great player remained intact. On October 9, 2009, Horst Semeniuk passed away at the age of 75 after a long battle with illness in a nursing home. His passing was quiet, much like his quiet dedication to the national team. He is remembered not for scandals or eloquent statements, but for the image of a man who gave his last ounce of strength for his country. Willi Schultz, a 23-year-old at the 1962 World Cup in Chile, quickly proved himself to be one of the best defenders German football had ever produced. With his intelligent play and masterful situational awareness, Schultz didn't need many physical challenges to frustrate opposing forwards. He was a brainy defender, always knowing when and where to be. His nickname, World Cup Willie, later came about to honor his incredible consistency across 3 consecutive World Cups, 1962, 1966, 1970. After retiring from playing for Hamburg SV, Schultz made a spectacular career shift, becoming a successful businessman in the insurance industry. He proved that footballers not only possess physical strength, but also sharp intellect to succeed in the business world. Off the field, Schultz is a lively, humorous, and highly diplomatic man. He frequently attends major sporting events as an honored guest and is always willing to share his experience with younger generations. His family life is fulfilling. He has an understanding wife and successful children. Schultz is proof that football can be a great springboard for building a solid future. Even today, at the age of 87, Willi Schultz is still living a healthy and active life in Hamburg. He still regularly goes for walks, plays golf, and closely follows the German national team. For him, every day is a gift, and the flame of his passion for football has never died out. Whenever he appears in public, the radiant smile of World Cup Willie always inspires positivity in everyone. Wolfgang Farian's selection as the starting goalkeeper was controversial, as he was only 21 years old at the time and lacked international experience. However, the young Ulm 1846 player dispelled all doubts with a brilliant performance. Farian possessed incredibly quick reflexes, excellent positioning, and, most importantly, courage in one-on-one situations. Although his team was eliminated in the quarterfinals, Farian personally left a strong impression as one of the most promising young goalkeepers of the tournament. After the tournament in Chile, his career continued to flourish at Hertha BSC, 1860 Munich, and Fortuna Köln. After leaving the pitch, Farian took a bold step by becoming one of the first football agents in Germany. He helped many players negotiate contracts and guide their careers with his keen insight and integrity. Off the pitch, Farian was decisive yet sincere, always willing to defend his clients' interests. He had a happy family and was always proud of his contributions to football in both roles, on the pitch and in the negotiating room. However, that energetic journey came to an abrupt end. On April 13, 2022, Wolfgang Farian passed away at the age of 80 after suffering an acute heart attack. His death was a great loss to German football agents and fans, but the story of a courageous 21-year-old goalkeeper who stood firm amidst the storms in Chile will forever be remembered. Albert Brülls was one of West Germany's most important attacking players in 1962. At the age of 25, he possessed blistering speed and an incredibly decisive finishing ability with both feet. Brülls not only played well on the wing, but could also play as a false nine, causing numerous problems for opposing defenses with his intelligent off-ball movements. He was the one who scored the opening goal in the victory against Switzerland. paving the way for his team to advance to the quarter-finals. Brühl's career was closely linked to Borussia Mönchengladbach before he moved to Italy to play for Modena and Brescia. He was an introverted man who valued tradition and always put family first. After retiring, Brühl settled in the Rheindahlen region, working as a youth coach and enjoying the peaceful life of a retiree. He wasn't interested in the media spotlight, choosing instead a simple life close to nature. Neighbors still see him taking daily walks and having friendly conversations about football with his old friends. That passionate journey came to an end on March 28, 2004. Albert Brühl passed away at the age of 67 after a long battle with illness. His passing left a profound sense of loss in Mönchengladbach, where he will forever be remembered as a hero who laid the foundation for the club's golden age in the 1970s. Hans Novak entered the 1962 World Cup at the age of 24 as one of the first modern fullbacks in German football. He was not only adept at defending, but also incredibly effective in attack, thanks to his abundant physical fitness and excellent individual technique. In the Schalke 04 jersey, he was a symbol of dedication and steely determination. In Chile, Novak played in all 4 of the team's matches, making a significant contribution to the solidity of West Germany's defense that year. After the tournament, his career continued to flourish when he moved to Bayern Munich, where he won the European Cup Winners' Cup in 1967. Novak was known as a kind, upright man who always acted as a bridge between his teammates. After his playing career, he became involved in business and also dedicated much of his time to charitable activities. He had a stable marriage and was always proud of his children. The image of a fierce defender on the field seemed to complement his warm, kind soul off the field. However, on June 1, 2012, Hans Novak passed away at the age of 74. His death shocked both Schalke and Bayern fans. His legacy is not only filled with titles, but also with an example of professionalism and noble character, a man who lived his life fully with passion and responsibility. Herbert Erhardt was one of the veterans of the 1962 squad. At 31 years old, with experience from the 1954 championship win, he served as a source of inspiration for the younger players. Playing as a central defender, Erhardt wasn't particularly agile, but possessed excellent game-reading ability and skillful covering. He was a quiet leader, not needing to shout on the field, yet his instructions were always followed absolutely by his teammates. Erhardt spent almost his entire career with Greuther Fürth, where he is considered one of the greatest legends in the club's history. After retiring, he remained involved in football in various roles and always maintained a healthy and disciplined lifestyle. He was a family man, enjoyed tranquility, and always found time to tend his garden. His career is proof that experience and composure can compensate for the limitations of age. He always lived by the philosophy: football is a game of cool heads and passionate hearts. On July 3, 2010, Herbert Erhardt passed away at the age of 79 in his hometown of Fürth. His death marked the passing of one of the last giants of the 1954 generation. Though time may pass, the image of a calm defender with precise interceptions will forever remain a cherished memory in German football. At the age of 26, Hans Tilkowski was a backup to Farian, but his professionalism and readiness were undeniable. He later became West Germany's #1 goalkeeper at the 1966 World Cup. Tilkowski was a strong-willed, straightforward man who always fought for what was right. He possessed impeccable goalkeeping skills and an incredibly resilient mentality under immense pressure. Off the pitch, Tilkowski is an active social activist. He dedicates significant time and money to supporting children with disabilities and charities. He is also a passionate writer and has published valuable memoirs. His life has been a long journey of fighting for fairness and humanity in football. He is respected not only for his talent, but also for his immense compassion. The image of a solitary goalkeeper seems to be in stark contrast to Tilkowski's open-mindedness towards the outside world. However, that meaningful journey came to an end on January 5, 2020. Hans Tilkowski passed away at the age of 84 after a long illness. His passing took away a great personality from the world of football. He will be remembered not only for his controversial goal at Wembley, but also for his tireless efforts to make the world a better place. Heinz Strehl entered 1962 at the age of 23 as one of Germany's most promising strikers. Although he didn't make an official appearance in that tournament, his devastating form for FC Nuremberg was undeniable. Strehl was a highly opportunistic striker, possessing diverse finishing abilities and a natural killer instinct. He was the brightest star, leading Nuremberg to the German championship in 1961. However, Strehl's life became a series of tragedies after he left the pitch. Persistent injuries forced him to retire earlier than expected. After football, he struggled to find a new direction and grappled with instability in his personal life. Although once a hero to an entire city, his final years were spent in solitude and poverty. This is a heartbreaking testament to the fact that the glory of the football field sometimes cannot guarantee a peaceful future. And then, the cruel twist of fate struck on August 11, 1986. Heinz Strehl died of heart failure on the pitch while participating in a friendly match for former players. He passed away at the age of 48, surrounded by the round ball, his greatest love and also his greatest sorrow. This sudden death left a profound sadness in the hearts of German football fans. At the age of 24, Willi Giesemann was a versatile and enthusiastic defender in the 1962 squad. He could play well both as a center back and a fullback, thanks to his excellent physical condition and fearless playing style. In Chile, he had promising performances, showing that he would be a mainstay of the West German defense for many years to come. Giesemann's career continued to flourish at Hamburg SV after the tournament. However, a horrific injury in a match against Brazil in 1964 completely changed his life. He was never able to regain his peak form and was forced to retire from the national team earlier than planned. After retiring, Giesemann lived a quiet life, working for a transport company and devoting all his time to his family. He was a man of few words, calm and composed, and always accepted the adversities of fate with equanimity. The journey of this silent warrior has finally come to an end. On October 4, 2024, Willi Giesemann passed away at the age of 87. He died peacefully in his hometown, ending a life that, while not illustrious in terms of titles, was full of experiences and self-respect.